Nowadays, when we talk about vaccination, as I have told you in the previous lectures also, that what is vaccination? What is vaccination? What is the main aim, right? So vaccination, it is the process in which we administer antigenic material inside the host body so as to elicit the immune response of that very host. So the main principle whenever you are going to work in this field, the main prime aim of this vaccination is to provide the protective immunity to the host cell by activating our immune system so that our immune system can induce the formation of memory cells so that a memory response can be generated against that very infectious microorganism. So this is the main goal. That means we are activating our protective immunity by generating the memory response against that very infectious microbe by administering a antigenic preparation that is non-toxic in nature. Suppose you have encountered any kind of you have encountered an infection from a microorganism. By doing this, our body will store the memory of that very infection so that in future encounters, our body can respond against that very infection with a double power. Okay. Now the most important thing is which kind of immunity would be of appropriate kind if you want to activate the immune system by vaccination. Either it can be antibody mediated, that means humoral immunity, or cellular immunity. Cellular immunity means in which different immune cells will be taking part. For example, T lymphocytes would be mainly involved in the cellular immunity. Now, whenever we get ourselves vaccinated, in that case, against those antigenic preparations that are non-toxic or that are inactivated, and our body will start producing antibodies against that very organism. That means those antibodies that is produced as a result of immunization, they are very effective in case of extracellular organism and their products. That means those organisms that are not the part of our body, that can't accumulate inside our body, but they are infection causing organisms that attack from the outside environment, or their products. They can be toxins, or their metabolites. So against them, the antibodies produced by such procedure, they are very effective. Now, another important point: passively administered antibodies also shows the same effect as well as induced antibodies. Now, what is the difference? First of all, induced antibodies are those antibodies which are produced by our body naturally against any infectious organism. Suppose you got yourself vaccinated against a particular infection. In that case, when that antigenic preparation would be entering in our body will recognize either that whether that organism or whether that antigen is killed, attenuated, or anything. Our body will be recognizing that very molecule as an antigen, and our immune system would be induced, and against that induced immune system, the antibodies would be produced. Those antibodies which are produced in response to that antigenic preparation naturally by our body, that is known as induced antibodies. Now the point is passively administered antibodies. You must have heard during this COVID pandemic, everyone was running towards plasma therapy. Why they were after the plasma therapy? Any idea? The mostly the news were flashing, and WhatsApp messages were coming. Plasma of the recovered COVID patients are required. Why? What do you think?
उनमें कोरोना के अगेंस्ट एंटीबॉडीज होती हैं।
हाँ बोलो.
कोरोना के अगेंस्ट एंटीबॉडीज प्रोड्यूस हो चुकी होती है इस पेशेंट के अंदर।
Okay, right. What happens is whenever a particular patient is recovering from a COVID, in that case, that his or her body is having the antibodies. They have ample amount of antibodies against coronavirus. So if you are using plasma, and those antibodies, they are normally released in our fluids. That means in the plasma, in the serum. In that case, the plasma therapy was being employed, so that the plasma containing the antibodies against COVID, antibodies against COVID, that can be administered to the patients who are not recovered till now. Okay, so those antibodies, why we are going for it? Because the antibody titer in the COVID recovered patient is quite high. That is why we can't go for the purification of antibodies, because that is a very tedious process. If you I'm just talking about plasma therapy of COVID. Otherwise, here, if I'm talking about passively administered antibodies, that means the purified antibodies against a particular infectious organism or against a particular antigen would be administered. Okay, so in case of COVID, the plasma containing the antibodies against that coronavirus, if the antibody titer is very high, so the chances of recovery are very high. Okay, but however, it imposes some certain side effects also, because it is not pure. There are many more things that are present in the plasma. That is why the plasma therapy was discontinued. However, in case of emergency, these therapies come into picture. But still, the purified antibodies getting purified, if suppose you opt for purification of antibodies from the plasma, that is a very time consuming process. That is a very expensive process also, due to which everybody won't be able to afford that therapy. So that is why we went for plasma therapy. Otherwise, passively administered antibodies are normally purified antibodies against a particular antigen, and in which what we do, we administer that antibody in the body of the patient, uh, uh, that antibodies in the host bodies, so that they can start killing. The killing action can be activated against that very infectious organism, and then memory response can also be generated. So this is the difference between passively administered antibodies and induced antibodies. Now the next point is, because as I told you, what kind of immunity would be induced by a particular immunization process. One is humoral, which we just discussed, induced and passive. Another is cell-mediated immunity. Now, if you talk about cell-mediated immunity, in which T cells and phagocytic cells are the major key players. In this case, after the particular vaccination process, our cells get activated, and they are playing very important role in clearing intracellular bacterial or viral infection or fungal infection. That means those kind of microorganisms, those microbial lives that have accumulated inside our tissues or cells, those are known as intracellular. So against that, T cells and phagocytic cells, they mainly get activated. Next slide. That means if a particular immunization program is running, then the primary goal of any immunization program is the eradication of that disease, so that that disease can be completely eliminated from the human population. For that, if you want to eradicate a particular disease among a human population, in that case, the infection rate should be very limited, and it should be limited only to the humans. It shall not pass to to other life forms, or it shall not have, or those organism or those humans shall not pass these infection to the animals, because there are conditions in which what is happening, certain other forms, life forms, they act as reservoir or carrier. That means if you have controlled that very, if you are able to control that very disease by a particular vaccination process, but if the infection of that very microbial entity can spread to other animals, in that case the control would be very difficult. So You can't eliminate that very microbial entity from the system. So, if you want to achieve the complete eradication, you need a large level of herd immunity. Now, what is herd immunity? When this corona outbreak was there last time, it was said if the herd immunity is achieved among among the population, and in that case it would be very easy to control the COVID outbreak. Why it was said? Any idea? Any idea? Anybody? Minu? Hello?
No,
Yes,
ma'am.
Minu. What is herd immunity? What is herd?
Herd immunity
Normal.
means
Uh-huh. Yes.
uh, the पूरी total population community global level पर.
Right. What happens is herd immunity mainly corresponds to, जैसे हम बोलते हैं ना, एक भीड़ का जो है हिस्सा नहीं बनना चाहिए. This herd is, that crowd. The point is, if suppose you have a population of 100 people in a particular locality, in that case, if 90 people are vaccinated for a particular disease, that means among that locality, the chances of infection outbreak is very less. That is known as herd immunity. More the people are immune to a particular kind of infection, the less would be the infection rate. क्योंकि जितने ज्यादा लोग इम्यून है, जितने ज्यादा लोगों ने इम्यूनिटी उस इन्फेक्शन के अगेंस्ट अगर अपनी बॉडी में एक्वायर कर ली है, that means that that particular infection won't be able to spread so fast or won't be able to spread in the community. So that is why this concept is there. If the people would be achieving the herd immunity, then you can prevent the person to person spread. Okay, got my point? What is herd immunity? However, we will be discussing this herd immunity point once again in our afternoon lecture also, in which we will be discussing different immunization program in which herd immunity was developed. Even we are using this herd immunity concept as a as a tool to prevent outbreak. Currently, we are government of India is doing mass vaccination drive. बहुत बड़ी एक vaccination drive चल रही है. Why we are doing it? Yes, why we are doing it? Why the government is more, after this mass vaccination drive? Why they are going for home to home vaccination process? The reason is more the person would be more the person would be immunized, the lesser would be the spread rate and infection rate. So this is the main concept. Okay. But for this, if you want that a particular population that shall achieve the herd immunity, you require lot of infrastructural support. That is why it will take time. And अगर आपको large infrastructure support का मतलब है, that means जैसे अभी हो रहा है, door to door vaccination हो रहा है, हर एक गांव में जा रहे हैं vaccination करने के लिए. You need manpower for that, right? Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Just give it a thought. India is a India is a country in which population is very large. बहुत ज्यादा population है हमारी इंडिया की. Is it possible कि आप उसको एक महीने में पूरी population को vaccinate कर पाओ? No, you can't do it, because for that you need such a huge infrastructural support. Yes, we will be achieving this target also, but it will take time, because you are basically covering all risk populations for the immunization process. For example, currently the 45 first of all, when this vaccination process started, at that time 60 plus persons, 60 plus humans were first of all vaccinated. After that they shifted to 45 plus, then they shifted to 18 to 45 plus aged people. Now they are doing their clinical trial on the children's also. Why? because this whole process, it is a very time consuming process, because you can't risk the lives of the of your country. In that case, you must have a proper clinical trial, you must have a substantial data. After that, you can go for vaccinating large number of people. However, these all vaccination and these all herd immunity, it has been achieved in case of certain diseases. For example, smallpox. We are all, we are almost at the threshold level in which we can completely eliminate the polio also. For example, Europe and other countries, they are polio free. Similarly, we would be achieving those targets also. So these immunization programs are basically working under these programs in which we want to achieve herd immunity. Now, immunity we people know, however, we have discussed these things in detail many times. Immunity means the state of being immune from, or you can say insusceptible for a particular disease or similar kind of infectious agents. And that condition, it can be natural or it can be artificial or acquired resistance against that very disease by using some medicines or by getting yourself vaccinated. Now the point is, whatever immune cells are responding against that very antigen, that shall be quite high, so that your immune response should be quite high. Now, whenever we are, till now we have discussed about various principles of vaccination. What is the goal? What is the aim? How we can achieve it? How we can target the herd immunity? What was the main principle of it? Main principle is to achieve the herd immunity, so that so as to contain the infection spread. So the next important point is there are two mechanisms by which immunization can be achieved in humans. There are two types. One is passive, another is active. Passive means, passive is further of two types. We will be discussing that thing also. So passive immunization. It involves the production of protective antibodies. Just a moment. Yes, passive immunization in which protective antibodies are administered to a non-immune recipient. Non-immune recipient means the person who have no immunity against that very infection, or that very person is susceptible to the infection, and in that case you have administered the antibodies directly. In that case, our body would not be storing the memory of that very infection. That means memory response would not be there. It is only for a very short lifespan that you are directly adding the antibodies into the body. That antibodies would be acting on that infectious organism and would be clearing out. However, no memory response would be stored. On the other hand, active immunization means in which our immune system would be induced. For example, we are going for vaccination. Suppose you are going for you are going for the vaccination process against COVID. In that case, the spike protein or mRNA is being administered in our body through this vaccine, right? Am I right, Dipanshi?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
So if you are having some inactivated, if your body is carrying inactivated virus material, your body would recognize that virus as an antigen, right? And your immune system would be induced. If that immune system would be induced, you would be activating your both pathways, humoral as well as cellular. That means your body would be start producing antibodies on the other hand, so as to provide you the protection against that virus. On the other hand, it will be storing the memory, so that in the future encounters those memory cells will be get activated and they will give a faster and strong response. That is active immunization. And this immunization, it comes under adaptive immunity. It is not innate immunity. We have previously discussed that there are two types of immunity: innate immunity, adaptive immunity, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. So, this kind of acquired immunity through passive immunization or active immunization, it can be of further two types, that is natural and artificial. And this natural and artificial, it comes under both passive and active immunization. Natural immunization, in case of passive immunity, it is the infant that harbor the antibodies from the maternal serum or milk. That is passive immunization, but natural version. Before the baby is born, you people must have read about, yes, I have told you also, that IgG antibody is the type of antibody that can cross the placenta, right? If
Yes, ma'am.
IgG antibody is the only antibody that can cross the placenta and provide the immunity to the unborn child, that means that is a natural process, but it is a passive immunization, because in that case, IgG antibody is being transferred. Only antibody is involved. And on the other hand, so after the birth, during the breastfeeding, the the infant take IgA antibody, because the breast milk is rich in IgA antibody. Again, the antibody is being transferred from the mother to baby. Again, it is a passive immunization, but it comes under natural process. समझ आया?
Yes, ma'am.
Got my point? पैसिव इम्यूनाइजेशन क्या होता है कि वी एड वी एडमिनिस्टर द एंटीबॉडीज. सो पैसिव इम्यूनाइजेशन का सबसे क्लासिकल एग्जांपल है नेचुरल के केस में द अनबॉर्न बेबी दैट take the IgG antibody through placenta and IgA antibody through breast milk. On the other hand, artificial is also present, in which we directly administer the antibodies. For example, we are going for plasma therapy. Okay. Next type is active immunization. Again, it is of two types. Suppose natural infection. Suppose some infection is happening, and suppose you were found to be COVID positive. You got the infection. You recovered from it. आर्टिफिशियल इन्फेक्शन. आर्टिफिशियल इन्फेक्शन मीन्स वैक्सीनेशन. आपको इन्फेक्शन नहीं हुआ था, बट टू एक्टिवेट योर इम्यून सिस्टम यू गेट योर सेल्फ वैक्सीनेटेड. इन दैट केस आपने आर्टिफिशियली अपनी बॉडी को इन्फेक्ट कराया, सो दैट आपकी बॉडी एक्टिवेट होके उसके अगेंस्ट एंटीबॉडी भी बनाए और उसके अगेंस्ट मेमोरी सेल्स भी बनाए. इन दैट केस आर्टिफिशियल इन्फेक्शन, आप डिफरेंट जो भी वैक्सीनेशन आपने लिया है किसी भी चीज का, दैट डिपेंड्स अपॉन वेदर इट इज एन एट्यूमेटेड ऑर्गेनिज्म, वेदर इट इज लाइव, वेदर इट इज डेड, whether it is some cloned part of a spike protein or it is a polysaccharide. It will depend upon the type of infectious entity. So till now what I have discussed, it is basically summarized in this single picture. Active immunity, natural and artificial. Natural means you got the infection. Your body would be induced, you are producing antibodies, and you are storing a memory response. Artificial, you get yourself vaccinated. If you are taking vaccination, if you are taking vaccine, in that case, you are activating your immunity, active immunity, artificially. Passive immunity, it is again of two types, natural and artificial. Natural, maternal antibodies, and artificial, that is monoclonal antibodies. Suppose आपने plasma लिया, you got yourself got the antibodies purified, then you get, then you administer those antibodies to the patients. Or you can choose the alternative way also, you can construct the monoclonal antibodies and then you can go for it. However, this monoclonal antibody process, it is very expensive, because the antibody purification part is quite expensive and time consuming. So in nutshell, if you talk about passive immunization, that is administration of preformed antibodies and this can be administered inside the host body either intravenously or intradermally. आप इसको इंट्रावीनस वे से भी दे सकते हो या आप इंट्रामस्कुलर रीजन से भी दे सकते हो. It is normally used to provide rapid production in certain kind of infections such as diphtheria, tetanus. जैसे सपोज किसी का एक्सीडेंट होता है, सबसे पहले बोलते हैं टेटनस का इंजेक्शन लगवा लो. So in that case, basically what we are doing, we are directly administering antibodies so as to provide immediate immunity against certain infectious organisms. However, it is also used to provide protection in the immunocompromised patients in which the immunity is very weak. Natural and passive, mother to child through placenta or milk, that means natural passive immunization. Artificial passive immunization is in which normally this artificial passive immunization is done in case of very fatal diseases in which the body is completely the immunity of the body is completely lost. In that case, we directly administered antibody so that your body can be recovered from that very infection. For example, tetanus, injection of antitoxins are given in that case. So this is passive immunization and their types. Next, these are the a few examples of this passive immunization in which what kind of antiserum is being used and what are the indications. For example, tetanus, immune human antibodies or horse antibodies are administered post exposure. Diphtheria, it is again the antiserum is being prepared from horse and again it is administered post exposure. Gas, gangrene, botulism, rabies. Suppose after dog bite you get yourself you get an antiserum so that you directly administered antibody, right? Similarly, in case of snake bite also, again the antiserum, the anti-venom is being prepared from horse and bite होने के बाद we administer those antibodies. पहले नहीं होता है. Pre or post exposure will depend. So these are the different examples in which passive immunization, different kind of infections against which passive immunization is being achieved. Okay. Next is active immunization. Active immunization was what? Administration of vaccines containing microbial products either with adjuvants or without object or adjuvants so that a particular host can develop a long-term immunological protection against that very infection. At present, the most common route of vaccination is intravenous and intradermal also. Intradermal only, either आप subcutaneous जाते हो या आप intramuscular जाते हो. जो active immunization है, however, we can also use other methods also. For example, oral immunization. In case of जैसे polio drops देते हैं. In case of rotavirus vaccination, you get the drops. So these are oral immunization is a method of choice in case of polio, salmonella typhi vaccine, rotavirus. So, however, the awareness is being spread among the people. So get yourself vaccinated because this route of immunization is the best one for the most immunization process if you want to go for the complete eradication of a particular disease. And oral method is the best one because most of the infectious entity they infect our body through mucosal surfaces. You must have heard that the nasal vaccine is also being prepared for COVID. Have you heard about it? In the news it was flashing.
Yes, ma'am.
The
Also heard.
nasal, because the nasal one is more effective, would be more effective because the site of entry of this virus is through mucosal surface. So if you already get yourself vaccinated by this route, so the particular virus, the infection rate would be quite less. However, all these things are currently in the experimental stages. Till now, nasal vaccine for COVID have not been reported, but still the experiments are being going on. So, in case of active immunity, memory cells are produced. एक चीज, the one of the major difference between active immunity and passive immunity is, in case of active immunity, memory cells are formed, but in case of passive immunity, memory cells are not formed. Please keep this thing in mind. Your concept should be clear in this manner. In case you get active immunity, in that case your protection is long term and permanent. But in case of passive immunity, it is temporary. Because no memory response is there, you have directly administered antibodies. Those antibodies will be clearing the antigen. Okay, antigen and immune cell interactions are only happening in case of active immunity. Okay, now the most important point, as I told you, passive immunization process is generally carried out if you want immediate response or immediate protection. That means the response rate is very fast, right? But it will last for few days because it is providing immediate immunity and it is not having a memory response. But in the case of active immunity, it will take several weeks to develop, to become active. That means the response is slow, but it is long lasting. Got my point? This is the difference between passive and active. Got my point? Now I'll be discussing natural active. What is the difference between passive immunity and passive immunity and active immunity? One by one, you people keep on telling me. Dipanshi,
Passive immunity, no, no production of memory cells, and active immunity में memory cells का production होता है.
okay,
दोनों
रुक
दोनों
जाओ. Me, Jasna. Next point. Yes, Jasna. Jasna.
When passive immunity, they are intravenously or intramuscularly antibodies are performed.
Hmm.
But in active, they are vaccines containing microbial products with or without.
Actually, you want to say in case of passive immunity, antibodies are administered,
Exactly.
and in case of active immunity, the
Vaccine.
yes. So, कोई बात नहीं. Next point. Response rate, Meenu.
Response rate is very high in passive immunity and it is short term, and active immunity takes time to develop and it is long term.
Okay. Jayanti,
Yes, ma'am.
what is natural passive immunity? There are two types, na? Passive immunity is of two types, natural and artificial. What is natural passive immunity? Yes.
Ma'am, natural is it's the body is transferring the same
Okay.
natural, like mother body is transferring to the baby
Maternal antibodies.
maternal.
Okay. Either through placenta or through breast milk. So that is natural
Yes.
passive immunity. Pooja, artificial passive immunity क्या होती है? Pooja,
Yes, ma'am.
what is artificial passive immunity?
Ma'am, these
Hmm.
एंटीबॉडीज जो होती है वो दूसरे एनिमल्स में डेवलप्ड होती है और देन
Hmm.
किसी और में इंजेक्ट किया जाता है, मतलब दूसरे इंडिविजुअल्स में.
Okay.
लाइक
Example दो एक. Give me
टेटनस.
one example.
टेटनस.
Tetanus. Very good. So, I think the concept is clear. I'm now shifting to natural active immunity. Natural active immunity, it mainly happens in case of whenever you got some infection. That means why we call it as active, because in response to that very infection, our lymphocytes get activated because of that antigens. That is why we call it as natural active immunity. And whenever our immune cells are lymphocytes are activated, so they will be producing either antibodies or they will be going for the clearance of that very antigen. In that case, naturally our body has responded against that action, that infection. That is why we call it as natural active immunity. Next is artificial active immunity. That means we get ourselves injected or we take oral antigens, that means oral vaccines. However, it takes time for T or B cells to be activated, but it provide you a long lasting immunity. So this is the complete process of passive versus active immunization. This is a passive transfer. You can make these diagrams whenever it is being asked that what is the difference between passive or active immunization, what is it all about, or many questions such like that. Passive transfer, here I have formed few antibodies, antigen specific antibodies. You can deliver these antibodies either intravenous, subcutaneous, or intraperitoneal. However, the most commonly routes are intravenous and subcutaneous only. These antigen-specific antibodies will bind to the antibody peptide, alpha beta peptides, and they will target the that very organism for the clearance. This is passive transfer. This is active. That is, we need lymphocytes. In that case, suppose this is a antigenic peptide on that B cell epitope and T cell epitope, depending upon that, we are taking a particular antigenic moiety and we can deliver with immunity booster either by adjuvant, either by injection intramuscularly. In that case, these antigenic molecules will be approaching to antigen presenting cell, antigen and it would be engulfed by these antigen presenting cell. Antigen presenting cell will be presenting it to the T cells. T cells would be then proliferating, they would be getting activated, they will produce pro-inflammatory cytokines, chemokines. That means the normal immune response would be triggered. And on one side, the activated T cell will kill those inactivated material. On the other side, B cell would be producing the antibodies. So both the pathways would be activated. So this is the active immunization process. Got my point till now? I hope the concept is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so antigenic preparations, whatever we use for these immunization process, they provide you protection against many pathogenic organisms, and you have to have a effective immune mechanism, whether it's cellular or humoral. So in that case, we can use different vectors or DNA or inactivated toxins as vaccines. So these are few examples that are being used, antigenic preparations that we use in the active immunization process. That is normal heterologous organism in case of vaccinia. That was the first one that marked the history of vaccination. Then living attenuated organism, measles, mumps, rubella, polio, whole killed. That means the completely killed organism in case of rabies, polio, and influenza. So similarly, you can use different type of antigenic molecules. You can either use whole cell or inactivated cells. Okay, so this was all about your principles of immunization and active and passive immunity. I hope the concept is clear to you people. If you have any doubt, you people can ask. Yes,
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
anybody? Okay, great. So your quiz is open. You people can switch to LMS and start attempting your quiz.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.